Uh, so there is this validator which validates whether your HTML code is correct or not. If there anything that is wrong with it, it will tell you. So you can paste your HTML code. Let's say I write HTML like this. So there is some mistake here. Then it says, okay. Uh, so generally the HTML, I mean, like yesterday I told you, but you need one more thing called doc type HTML before the HTML tag for the browser to understand that it's a HTML type. So I'm just going to add it. So I'm just going to add it here. Now you can see that this error goes. So what are the errors that are coming here? That means these are the things that there is some noise. Yeah. Now it's fine. Yeah. I think my neighbor's kids do a lot of noise. Okay. So that's fine. Uh, Uh, so again, it says that stray end tag HRML. So again, it says head is missing and like document checking completed. So this is a very good tool for you to check at any point in your life whether you are writing a proper HTML or not. And what is a validator? So let's like I said, whether you are when you write a HTML document, you might not be writing it in the correct format. So this will let you know whether you are writing because you might have not been closing properly. So here I didn't close the tag properly. So that's the reason for showing it an error. Now if you close it properly and do a check, uh, again you can see that error message is gone. Now there are some more errors, so that which we will see. So the errors are what you need to be worried about. Warnings you can kind of ignore. Warnings are not so dangerous, but errors are definitely dangerous. So let's say this is like your checker when you are writing your HTML code. So this will help you whenever you are writing HTML code, if you are doing proper notation or not, and following any things or not. So that's the whole HTML tag. So you start with the base HTML tag. Like I said, it's a main, it's a top level box. So imagine if the whole HTML content is a set of boxes. The HTML is the outermost bigger box which you see. So any document will start with it. It has many attributes like version is there, but we'll get back what the version is, and language is there. Let's say you are building for multiple languages and all. You can specify those languages, but generally you'll be building only for English. But we will get there, or you might not even be working on different language uh, uh, types. So that this thing requires. So if you look at it, so in the Embed documentation, you can see from which version of the browser it supports and all. So you have to be available, or you should be able to do this kind of things. You need to understand when you are building an application for a very large company, let's say for Facebook, uh, or something, because they might be supporting billions of things. So if it's a startup, they might be even only support Chrome and Firefox. But if it's a very big company, they will maybe, let's say, they might support even version 6 of Internet Explorer, because 1% of their users might be using, and 1% of billion is very much. So it depends on company to company, like how many browsers or how many versions, which versions of browsers you support. But so that's where all this documentation will help you when you are building based on this company, whether your team lead or your product manager will give you the idea of whether you need be supporting which browser and all. So any tag you use, you can see from which browser it supports and all. So again, it said the outer box, it needs minimum of two inner boxes. So what I'm going to say is, so those are the head, so and the body. Like I said, head is not for any content which is readable by the human. So all the content that is readable by the human or visible to the human is goes under the uh, body tag, but there are some things like you can see the documentation. There can only be one body element in the whole document. You can't put two bodies. The same is the case with uh, um, the head. So let's try to write the code pen, and again writing on code pen. Today evening I will showcase you how to use Visual Studio Code, because we'll be writing some styles and all. Uh, but today, or if you already know it, you can use it. Again, I start with the HTML part of it. Now I put a head inside it and a body. So whenever you're building any page, so these are the bare minimum things which you need to have to build an HTML page. Again, so I start with the HTML. I put head and body. So without these, you can't even like write any code of uh, the things. I will zoom it a bit. Okay. So the document type, I mean, you like I said, it's better to write, but I mean, some of what the problem with the browsers is they will also automatically correct it. So you're just saying the like document that it's the document is of the type HTML, but the code pen will not allow it. So let's try to ignore it. But when you are writing in Visual Studio Code from today evening, we'll see it. So there are few things that need to know in head, what goes in head. So there is title and meta. So, and there are more things which you learn when you learn CSS and JavaScript. What are the things that goes there? But the title, you might be realizing it, you might see it. So all the top, this thing you see on the browser, it's called title. So whatever you put in the title, it will be visible here. So if you put, and it goes in the head part of it, and again, I'm doing the closing and so this might not be seen on this code pen, because the code pen puts its own title. I'm going to put it in a HTML file and open it in the browser. Let me do that. So I'm pasting that code in a file in the browser, and I'll open it in the browser. So you can see I opened this is a blank page, nothing is there. Now we can see the full HTML title here. So that's what the title does. So it will put it in the top navigation bar for anyone to like understand what page you are in. Again, people are asking question, what is head? I told you, like, head contains machine readable information, which is for the browser or for some of the scraping sites, or if you want to load any information which you don't want to show to the user, that's where the head part comes. The body part is which is visible to the user. So again, so meta is the extra data which you put in the head, which it's like extra information which you are giving to the HTML. But there are many things which the meta provides. Like let's say the content type, and you don't have to worry about knowing all these things. No, I'm just explaining you what meta is. It's just some extra information which is there in the head, and provides you with the things. So it can have many elements like the links, the scripts, the styles, and all the things which will be looking when you start writing his JS and CSS code. So these are just the tags you should know that they exist. Like, we are not trying to learn everything at one shot. Like we are going to learn it in chunks and chunks. So just try to understand about that. So now comes the body which you are writing from yesterday. So So in the body, yesterday we looked at a lot of elements. Today we are going to look at some more elements. Okay. So one of the things that's very important when you are writing any HTML is you should be able to put a link to go to some other page. Let's say, like I said, each page has an address. Let's say I have a page called Masai School. So this is the address of the Masai School. The same way, if you go to courses, it has a different link. You can see masaischool.com. Here you can see masaischool.com/courses. So these all called links. And to provide links in the HTML page, there is a tag called uh, anchor tag. So anchor tag will provide you, or will let you write the links which you can access in the by using those anchor tags. You'll be able to provide links, and which makes you take to that page. So before that, let's look at some of the things which you learned yesterday. Like I said yesterday, every tag needs a open and closing tag. Let's say I'm writing a P. Okay, so this is a paragraph tag. It has an opening and it has an ending. But people realize that not all tags have content inside it. Let's say for the sake of easy, so yesterday you used BR tag. Okay, and also you used input tag. So input doesn't have any text inside it. So these are the tags which are opening, and without any content inside it, it has only attributes, and you are closing it. So this is a lengthy way of doing it. There's a short notation of writing these tags, which we call as self-closing tags. So instead of writing this long syntax, there's a short syntax or short notation. All you have to do is PR and write the closing thing and this thing. So this is a short notation of these lines. This line is equal to this line. So if you're comfortable in reading like this, you can write like this. It's not wrong. And the same way, if you write like this, this is also not wrong. So it's perfectly fine. There's nothing mistake in it. So if you want to save some speed or gain some speed by writing fastly, you can write these things. The same way for input also. So if you want to close it, you can close it like this. So now this is the same as writing this thing. So both these lines will indicate the same thing. There is no differentiation between these two. So this is a short notation of writing it. This is the like this short notation, and this is the proper way of writing it. Just like how you do your new messaging system. Like instead of good night, you write GN and all the things. So these are very valid syntaxes. So these are not the syntaxes which nobody will not accept. So these are accepted syntaxes. So that's the thing. Now let's look at the anchor tag. So anchor tag will provide you the links. It has certain attributes which you need to know. So the first thing is, when you put an anchor tag, it's an A, and let's say I'm closing it. So I said I want to put a link of Google. So whatever the text you want to show, you should write inside the tag. Let's say I put Google. Now, what is the link you want to take it to when somebody clicks it? It has an attribute called href. So in it, you need to put what is the link. The attribute is the key is the href, and the value is the link which you want to put. So if you put it here, okay, so I put the address here. So href, what is the address I want to take to when someone clicks on it. So now you can see the link changed the style a bit, which is because of the browser. Now if you click on it, you can see, and Google will not let you connect. Let's put Masai School. Okay, so this is the Masai School. Now if I click here, it's opening here because it's a code pen again. So now I'll write this copy this file in the same text file which HTML file which I wrote to show the title. So this, yeah, this is a page. I'm refreshing it. Now you can see Masai is there. If I click on it, you'll go to masaischool.com. So this is what let you take you to different websites or different links. So that's the thing. Okay, so I told you not to ask any questions. We'll take the questions at the end of the class. If you have any questions, keep it aside. And if I'm not able to answer in the class, ask it on help desk or our coding channel. Okay, because it breaks the flow, and also it's you'll be missing a lot of things. Try to keep all your questions, take a pen and paper and write it. Okay, so this is the anchor tags which we're talking about. Now, very useful when you want to put a links. There are certain attributes you need to for it. So roundabout attribute is the target attribute, which is very much used. So what the target attribute does is, let's try to, yeah, okay. So where to display the linked up URL. So by, you can say it is a default is written. That means it's a default value is self. You don't have to mention self. It opens in the current browser only. Blank means it usually opens in a new tab. Okay. So these are more values which you will try to understand when you learn more about DOM. What is DOM? What are elements? What is the XML structure and all. But if you want to open in a new tab, all you have to put is underscore blank. So if you put target, it's equal to blank, so it will open in a new tab. Again, let me put in my page. So the code pen will has some restrictions. Again, I'm opening that. Where is my HTML page? Okay, I copy pasted the same code. Now if I click Masai, you can see this page is there. I went to a new tab. So this is what target blank does. It will open in a new tab. That's the thing which you need to understand. Now there are few more tags which you will see for the day, which are like mostly used. So these are the general tags which you most probably use in your many of the websites. You will not be using much more than this. This will take you off it. So this DL, DT, DD, or these are the description list. So you might be seeing some of the times ignore the style. So most of the times you want to put a name, Nrupul, school, Masai, age 23. So for all these things, so it's called a description list. So it has something called DT. What is DT? It's what the key is. It's a definition. What is the definition is, and DD is where you put the description or the value of it. So the syntax is DL, DT, DD. So in description list we have the list. DT will have the left one. DD will have the right one. So the way in which it shows might differ from based on the different tags. So but you will know how to style it when you learn CSS. So let's say a name. Now, sorry, DT, DD. So you can see it puts in each browser might show it in a different way. How to style it, we learn when you do CSS. Let's say school. Sorry. So this shows in this way. Like yesterday, you saw one list called. I think yesterday you looked at order lists. These are description lists. There is one more kind of list which you might be using frequently, which is called order lists. So order lists have number. Yesterday you have an order list. They will not have any number. Order means the order is there for it. It starts with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say I write order list, and the items is the same. So li, it says Ajay. So you can see that it already has the number. You don't have to provide any number. It comes with a number. Uh, okay, just checking. Okay, so Ajay, let's say now I put Akshay. These are the name of first batch students. So Mahesh. So let's put Sumanta. So you can say without even writing the numbers are getting, so based on the list, this is the first item in the list, will give 1, 2, 3, 4. So again, so whenever you might be seeing these kind of things in doc and all, or whenever you are looking, whenever you want to make a list of items in a HTML page with numbers, you can use this order list. Now you should understand as why many more tags are developed. So these are some of the new tags which came into picture. Uh, Header, footer, section, and navigation. So what happened is, like, remember the yesterday's conversation we had saying that if you are two friends, whenever you are updating, let's say you started with 10 identification marks or 10 syntaxes or 10 tags. What happens is when you keep on updating or adding new things, you keep on coming up with new version numbers. That's the same way HTML evolved. So when people thought that they need more and more uh, uh, items or more items to put in their pages, they keep on adding more and more items, and so they added to the new version. So this is, you can see, so it started with version 1, and then you can see it currently, I mean, there's a version 5. Yeah, you can see the it's in HTML5, and you can see that which specification of it it came into, and all the things. So when people realize all the sites have a common things like headers, now you can see all the sites have headers, footers, and there are sections of content like left, right. I mean, in this flow also there is one section, let's say product section, there is grocery section and all. So they needed more items, and so that's why they came up with all these tags. Uh, so this is so it may contain some heading elements as logo, author name and all, but it's not, you can write HTML without these things also. But when you have a very huge page, without using this, you might get lost. Let's say take this page for example. If you look at the view page source of it, you can see that it's a lot of HTML content. So when you are organizing this much amount of content, it has JavaScript also. So you can see they use these new tags called headers, sections, and also it's for you to organize the code or organize the structure of the page. Or let's say you have multiple sections, you have 3 people working on it. You can say that, okay, I am working on the left section. You don't touch my code in this section. That someone might be working on a header, someone might be working on a footer, someone might be working on the navigation. So you can logically break the page into multiple tags. So these are some of the new tags which we will keep on using that. But you should understand this came in the new versions of HTML, and this is for you, for your page to organize in a much better fashion. So you just need to know all these modern things, but when you use it, you will try to use it the same way. Like most of the times you might, so this is some of the things which you might be using. You might be needing a like a small line in between to clear a lot of sections. So the tag is called HR. So again, it's a self-closing tag because it doesn't have any content. I'm using the HR. So you can see a line. It puts a line, horizontal line here. So again, you can use it whenever you want a line. So it has some spacing on turned up. So it will put a line here. So that's the thing which you will be looking at. Now, this is something which you might have looked at in any of the website. So these are called buttons. Again, so there are many uses of buttons, but the syntax for the button is the simple button. Let's say if I put a button, say hi. I'm closing it. So this is how it starts looking. So it looks like a button. So how to perform some actions using it, and all the things you will learn when you start learning JavaScript. So by default, it will not do anything. So you can just click on it. It will not do anything. So how to make it work, and then how to make some useful actions. You look when you uh, start working on the buttons. Again, the same thing is valid for some of the things. You just need to know why these things are. But as you progress towards the things, you'll learn more and get deeper into all the things. So the next set of items are for all the input types, so which we are going to learn. Uh, these are called forms. So you might be wondering why you need forms. So whenever you want to take any input from the user, you'll need forms. So that's the thing. So so there are multiple types of input you might be requiring. So all these can be accomplished using forms. So sometimes why the form is the main element in which it has a multiple input element. So you might be taking email, password, or let's say text, or a large description, and also all these one set of things which you want to collect at one time will go in a form. Uh, so how to start the form? So again, it's a form tag, and then closing the form. So this is one form. So if you want, you can make multiple forms like this, and you can make sure that by clicking on uh, clicking the submit on each form, you can using JavaScript and the server side, you can make it work in the way you want. So like we discussed yesterday, let's start with input. And there are multiple types of inputs like I spoke. So these are all available inputs. So one is button, checkbox. It will put a checkbox here. So these are you can see in which version they introduce these things. Color. So color is introduced in HTML5. It's there in documentation. So if your browser doesn't support HTML5, this color will not work. So color will let you choose the color. It's a color picker. Uh, date will let you choose the date. Again, date time will let you choose the date and time. These even the new, because people are using email so much, they introduce a new type called email. You can use this. So let's try to create an simple registration form. It will not work. It will just for the look. But before it, each form will need a label. So label is the thing which I mean, or each input needs a label. So label is the one which will be like associated, linked to that box which says that what is that input for. Uh, so there is a small catch here, which you need to understand. To associate a label with an input element, you need to give the input an ID attribute. So the input will need an ID attribute, and a label that needs a fur attribute whose value is same as the input ID. So how will if a form knows this label belongs to this input? Let's say I load this form called type. I'm taking a text. Self closing it. Now I type a label called label, and I call it name. So let's say you have two of these types. Type I'm making an email. So how will the HTML know that this label belongs to this input or this input? So for doing that, you need to give an attribute called fur is equal to which input it belongs to. So you can see it needs uh, you have to put you need to give an input an ID attribute. So input, let's say I'm giving an ID. So this is a name. So an ID is an uh, uh, like attribute. The value you can for now assume give anything, but it has something which you need to understand, which you'll learn in when you go to CSS. Let's say I give the ID name. For now, make sure that you give the unique ID for each of the thing, because if you give two ID, two inputs the same ID, again it will get confusing. So email, and this I'm saying this label is for name, and this label is for email. So that means you are mapping, okay, this label belongs to name, this label belongs to email. That's that's the thing you need to understand. So now there are many more input types. We are going to look at some more. The next input type is we are looking at is submit. So by default, or let's look at something called password. So if you look at password, the thing about password is if you make the type as password, I'm saying it's labeled for password. Okay, so when you make a type as password, so it will automatically become a password field. So whatever you are typing, it will not be shown. So it will show it as this. This is a text field. The same way you can use file if you want to take an input file. So you can use that, like you can see, like HTML file has some other fields called number. It will take a number input. It has something called range. It will take a range input like this. Okay, so it has telephone, it has time. So these are the new things which came in HTML5, and you can see all the things. Like you can see, these are all possible available input types you can use to make any kind of forms. Uh, these are per input. Next, look at some of the things which you might be doing it when you are seeing a form. So the next two things are text area. It will give a big block of input where you can write any text. So now come to here. I'm putting it text area. Again, so it will, you can see it will put a simple text area, but if you want how many rows you want, how many columns you want, so you can put that. So rows, let's say I want rows is equal to 20. So you can see, okay, rows. So you can see it has 20 rows. In the same way, how many columns you want. So you can see these are the attributes of the text area. Okay, columns and the rows. Yeah, rows. So if you want to make it bigger on that side also, so I'll put calls. Let's say I put 100. You can see it became like a big text area, which you can take some, like it depends on many other things. Now the next one we are going to look at is you might be looking at drop down. So if you want to make a drop down, the tag you have to use is select. Okay, so select is the thing which you might be using it, and select has something. So if you write select, because each drop down have multiple options. So you need to provide the options. Okay, so let's say Drupal. We select when here. Let me put a BR here. It comes down. Okay, you can see it's showing a select box. It Drupal, let's say Yogesh. So this is how you create a drop down. You select one and then you have things. So there is one more attribute which you generally use with option. So like it's kind of a secret thing. So what happens is when you want to send the server, when user selects Drupal, you want to send some value. That means let's say you want to show the user some value, but you want to store some value. So that thing is stored in like value. So the attribute is called value. So you can look at it. It contains the attribute represents the value to be submitted with the form. So when you provide a value to it, so when the form is being submitted, instead of the value being submitted as Drupal, let's say I put the value as NRU. So when you submit this to a server, which you will learn when you are doing like some of the JavaScript or backend, you will understand that the server will not get the value as Nupul, it will get the value as NRU. And the same is the case with Pratik. So it will get Pratik. So now the server will not even understand what you selected. It will just understand what is the value you provided. So A and K, that's the value you get for the server. Okay, so these are the things which you'll be using when you know a bit of JavaScript or working with forms for submission. So these are the things which will let you do or make some forms. The same way, there are like I said, there are many things which whatever you want to use, you can put them. Like you can put checkboxes and radios. So there is a difference between checkbox and radio. So uh, so checkbox, you can click multiple things, but radio it is to, you can see that radio button allows a single value to be selected out of multiple choices. uh, okay, so but a checkbox, you can select and deselect, uh, and you can have multiple checkboxes. So that's the thing which you'll be working more on checkboxes when you're working with forms and all, or making forms to submit data to the servers and all. But again, so these are all available input types. I'm just giving you the basic syntax of some of the mostly common used things. This is where forms ends. Now comes some of the new things, or the things which you need to understand when you want to work with uh, what I call as media. So what is media? So let's say it can be audio, it can be video, or it can be like the video I put in our class lectures and all. So okay, so these are the tags which came in the newer versions of HTML. Again, it, it, it doesn't used to be there in the previous ones. Okay, so the things that you need to know are video, audio. I mean, this is one more thing I thought tag I thought I should let you know. So there is this pre-tag which will let you do pre-formatted text. What do you mean by pre-formatted text is, let's say if you put something, I'm going to put this the same text which you see here. So if you put in a p tag, it will not have any formatting. That means by default, HTML will assume that there is only one space, even if there are multiple spaces. So you can see that all the spaces, all the things are gone. You'll see only one space where there are multiple spaces. Okay, so that is by default, that's what the HTML understands. But if you want sometimes the HTML to understand not to do that, so you can use pre. So it's like you're telling HTML, look, I'm sending a text which already has formatting, don't try to do anything with it. So it will print the same way as a text. So whenever you want to print a text with some spaces, lot of spaces, instead of p, try to use a pre tag. Okay, so that will preserve your way in which you typed with a lot of spaces the text. So this is the thing which will be very helpful. Okay, so you can see if you put space, yeah, it is shifted. But here, if I put as any number of spaces in paragraph, it will look like the same line, because it is removing all these multiple spaces. It is converting to single space. So that's one of the thing which you need to look around when you're working on it. The next set of things like I'm going to talk is embed, video, and audio. So what is embed? Okay, so sometimes you want to, not only you want to put the content which you want, but you want to put any external content, any document also. So which can be anything. So here you can use the embed. Uh, it can be any source. So let's take this thing. It can be any type. Okay, I'm copying this. So you can, I mean, I'll show you how to like read or how to understand the browser console in some time, but I'm just taking it for the length. So for the embed takes the types, the source, and the width and height. So whatever you want to put, either you want to put like So these are all the things which you can put in Embed. Okay, so this, yes. So these are all the media types which you can put: an application, an audio, font, example, image, message, uh, like text and audio, and these are all available formats. So this is a big list of formats of files which you can put. Uh, so these are the people. Yeah, you can see these are all the types of formats which you can put. So I'm just giving you a like quick overview. You need not be worried about using all things. But generally, if it's a video, the new tag, you can use the video one, which is like properly well defined. So when you want to use a video, that's what I used when I made our thing where you can see our class videos and all. So the video tag starts with video, it ends with video. So all the things related to it will be there. It has some attributes which you need to understand. Where is the video? Yes. Okay, it has attributes called autoplay. If you keep it as true, as soon as the page loads, it will start playing. By default, it is false. Okay, so controls. If you want the controls to be there, let's put video. So the syntax is you have to provide the source inside it. Again, if you ask me, do I remember all these tags? No, I know because it's too much to remember. Okay, so it has nothing, so it's not showing. Okay, let's put. Okay, now you if you want to play it, you need to put controls. Without controls, you will not see anything. Again, I'm putting controls. Okay, now you can see the buttons coming along. Now if I click on it, it will start playing. The same is the case with audio. It's the same. So you can, by default, the browser has a player which will play it. Now, if you want to control the width and all, you can control it. If you want to put it is equal to, let's say I want only. So you can see now it's small. So what is this? We will see in the evening things like what are the measurements that you might be using it. So this gives you the sense of putting like video. So all you have to know is you need to have a link and you need to be providing it. But the link can be also from your computer, which will see like how to do it. But for now, assume that you are getting the link. And generally, you don't, when you are putting the site on a server, you don't give a link to your computer. You want to put the file also on the server and provide the link that it has. So these are the tags which you need to understand. That's the kind of tags which you will be mostly using. I mean, there are many other tags, like I said. If you go here, okay, so there are so many tags which are present, but yeah, we'll look at some of the things which in maybe will not, you don't even need to know all the things, but some things you will learn in upcoming classes when you are using certain things that are particular for that. So these are the forms, these are the interactive elements, so these are some components and all. So these are the deprecated elements. That means they are no longer valid because they do removed from the new version of the HTML. So that will end the basic introduction of HTML.